Well, hello there folks, welcome back to what is today, I believe, part 10 of those must-get boss drops, and of course we'll throw a few shops in there as we always do, but we are kicking off today over at Join Feverfew, because if you head all the way through here to this blaze binder, assuming you're a member, you can pick up this staff. I just really like the design on it, so I thought, you know what, it's probably worth showing you. Next up, we are heading over to Join Fiendpast, where not only is there a merge shop you can have a little look through if you would like to, we are going to be searching for a variation of Dage the Evil, and this version of Dage is called Dage the Lich. Now, if you are a fan of more casual styled sets, this is probably one you may want to consider, because this is the Fiendish Outlaw, and I actually really do quite like this one. It's a little bit more simple and basic compared to some of the really outrageous Nulgath bits you can get, so you never know, this may work for some of your sets, particularly if you like whips, because there's another whip you can add to your collection. Next up, we are over at Join Fiendshard. Once here, you can fight Dirt Liquor. A lot of these are staff birthday tags. I'm fairly sure the Nulgath items are just there all year round, but if they're not dropping, I deeply apologise. Rewatch this video in January or something when it becomes relevant again. There is also the Fiendshard, and if you beat up the Fiendshard, again, there are more slightly darker items you're able to pick up, as well as the Void General Rune right at the end. Over at Join Final Showdown, you'll find yourself Prince Drakov, and you may be thinking, Goon, why are you showing us Prince Drakov? That is because if you like portals, and particularly house items, then you can get yourself some of those chaos portals. Join Fire is a legend only map, and if you do come along here, potentially for the first time, you'll find this boss right at the top, who has got some pretty quirky helms and weapons which are all fire themed. That's one of those maps which I just fully forgot even existed. Join Eternal Night, we're only really here because it has a Vampire War merge, and if you would like to pick up a couple of free player items, you can. Not too sure if you necessarily would because they're not AC tags, but you may like one of the armors or one of the helm styles. But those radioactive vampire bats are really cool. Over at etherwardes, you'll find yourself Desoloth the Final, and if you do decide to go along and defeat Desoloth the Final, there's a couple different armors you're able to grab. The next map on our list gives me a bit of a throwback to one of the really old videos I made absolutely ages ago, all about the Pole of Doom, and as you can see, this is at the Join Events map. Once you're there, you can get yourself some gold items. A few of them are for legends only. I'm sure, though, there are people out there who can get those items working really nicely with some sets. We are heading over to two absolute classics, evilwardage and evilwarnul. Both of them have a great selection of shops, merges, etc. available from these maps, so make sure if you've never been here before, which I think is really unlikely for the majority of players who've played this game for a long time, then just make sure you go there. However, shop talk is not the main purpose of this video. We have got some mini bosses that we need to go along and have a look at what they drop. So Clunk is the first one you'll come across. There is a mace with plus 13, I guess that is some kind of damage boost, and also a little runic axe. Revontheus, a little bit further through the map, again has got an armor for you. You can get yourself the Undead Warrior Bruiser armor, so if you're a fan of Undead Warrior, there's another variant for you. And then Diligus, right at the end of the map, has got for us a slightly longer drop list. I really like the Claymore. I think that is a really cool looking weapon. Sadly, it is for legends only. Map hopping again, this time just over to evilwarnul, as we mentioned a moment ago. Yes, there's even more shops you can have a look through here. We're not going to do that though, even though I've started to do that, which contradicts myself a little bit. We're going to walk through the map until we find ourselves this enormous Undead Legend, and the Undead Legend has got a couple bits for us. You can get the Revontheus armor if you'd like to dress up like that. In fact, it's pretty much the full set because there's also a helm and the wings to go with it. Now then, let us move on to yet another map where we're just looking at the shop. Actually, scrap that, we will show you the monster as well, but the item drop we're going to be specifically looking at is tagged for harvest, so if you'd like it, you will just have to wait a little bit unless the harvest event is still in game, but I don't think it is. It is this blade right here. It for some reason just resonated really well with me, and I thought we'll give it a shout out just for those that want to put it on their to-do list at some point in the future. Lastly, and certainly not least, we are over at Join Extriki just to check out the boss drops here before we disappear and wait for part 11. But as always, folks, thank you very much for tuning along. This is one of the more mini episodes, but we'll come back with a much bigger one next time round. If you are new around here, make sure to hit that subscribe button, leave the video a like, and I'll see you all again for another one incredibly soon. So until then, have a lovely day.